We've been told our entire lives that if you get good grades, go to a good college, graduate, and get your degree, that you'll have a great job and a happy life. Maybe that was true a few decades ago, but now, that's just not true anymore. In this video, I'm going to talk about why it's a horrible idea for most people to go to college, and why only a select few should be going to college, and by the end of the video, you'll know which one you are. As college became more and more popular throughout the decades, and more people started going to college after high school a few decades ago, it was a great opportunity for people to become educated more in a specialized way because everybody in high school gets the same education. So for the people that wanted a career in any kind of specialized topic, they could go to college and earn a degree. They could learn about the topic that they wanted to specialize in. And then also they'd get a piece of paper pretty much guaranteeing them a job after they graduate college. In the beginning, it was a great opportunity and a great idea, but that's just not how it is anymore. Over the past few decades, as more and more people started going to college, because for more and more people after high school, that was like the golden ticket that their parents and everybody in society had taught them. That was pretty much the requirement that your teachers, your parents, every adult in your life has said to you. Pretty much go to high school. After you go to high school, you go to college, and then you get a good job. But as more and more people did that, obviously the people who graduate with degrees increases over the years. And now, the amount of people with degrees is so much higher than it once was, even a few years ago. Which means they're not as valuable anymore, just because of simple supply and demand. That the more and more people that get degrees, the less valuable they are. So, in the job market, instead of being a guarantee for a job like it was a few decades ago, now it's simply a requirement and it's barely a foot in the door. The next reason ties into this one too, which is that back when our parents went to college, they could go to college and pay for it with a part-time job. But since then, the price has gone up astronomically, meaning that the tuition and all the other hidden fees they put in there are outrageous. All this while the actual value of a degree, which is, the education you get, hasn't changed at all, and the actual value of a degree has gone down. So why would you pay a higher price for something that is less valuable now? It doesn't really make any sense. Both of these reasons are why the parents and all these older people in our life, who are meaning well, but they're telling us going to college is like the only option after high school, they just don't know what they're talking about because they're basing their information from back when they went to college and they were able to pay for it with a part-time job at Wendy's. So they think college is cheap and that you can pay for it with a part-time job and that the degree guarantees you a job. So of course they're going to tell you to go. They think it's a great idea. They just don't know what it's become because they haven't gone to college in 40 years probably. Which brings us to the third reason, which is that overall, the degree and even what you learn in the classes is inefficient at best compared to all the other options that are available to us now. I mean, if you look at the degree, the structure of it, it's like infamous that the first 2 years are almost all gen eds, like liberal arts classes or English or history or chemistry or something. I mean, if you're going to be like a computer science major, why would you need an English class or history class or an art class? I mean, it's not like they're bad things to study, but if you're trying to get a job as a programmer, you don't need any of that stuff. It's a waste of time and it's just meant to pad out the degree so that you stay there longer and pay more. It just wastes a lot of time and money. And that's not even considering that when you're actually in the class and you're actually in the degree itself, let's say you're going to major in computer science and you wanted to become specialized in game design. Even in the degree itself, after you finish the gen eds, most of those classes are not about game development. Most of them are about either stuff relating to the theory of computer science, like logic and algorithms or data structures or calculus, a lot of math. You'll probably take 1 or 2 game design classes at most, meaning that you'll have to go off on your own anyway and learn it and focus on it, especially because a degree like computer science, you're learning different languages. It's not really of course some of the theories are applicable, but you want to really spend as much time with the one language you need as much as you can, rather than spending a bunch of time on other languages and having like a broad knowledge of like 5 languages. You'd much rather be really good at one because that's all the job cares about. So why not just spend all that time instead learning the actual thing that you want to get a job in? There isn't no value in it. It's just inefficient for the amount of time and money you're putting into it. And then if you look even deeper at the minute details, which is the actual class, just going to class, like you have to drive there, you have to pay for gas, you have to get in the class and sit through a lecture, and then you have to do the bullshit homework. And a lot of these classes, like we said, are not that good. Like the teacher doesn't care. You're not really paying attention to the lecture. You're just memorizing stuff and then regurgitating it on the test. It's not an efficient way of learning in the fundamental way that school teaches, by lecturing at you and then you regurgitate on a test. I'm sure you learned something by doing that, but I guarantee you it's not as efficient as it could be. It's extremely inefficient. When you package all of that together, the fact that you have to pay more for college now than you used to, the degree is less valuable, and you can learn all this stuff online now, which you couldn't do 40 years ago. You can learn all this stuff from a better teacher or just doing it yourself. Instead of spending 4 years and $40,000 in debt to go to college and get this degree, for most majors, you can just learn by yourself online and by practicing and then make a portfolio or even get your foot in the door at some job after showing them some experience you've had by yourself, either making your own business, making your own art portfolio, making your own programming portfolio. I mean, you can do this with a lot of majors, not all of them, but a lot of them. And you can do this for cheaper and for less time. So why wouldn't you do that, especially with how much information is online nowadays? And a lot of people go to college without even knowing what they're going to do, just because people make them go. Don't go to college if you don't know what you're going to do. You have to get student loan debt, which you can't file bankruptcy for. So you're stuck with it, and you don't even know what you're going to do yet. And then people just meander along and graduate, and then they wonder why they can't get a job. This is the only way that I think college is a good idea, is if you want to go to grad school or something, like being a scientist, like a physicist or a chemist or something like that. Or you need some kind of special school, like law school or like med school. If you want to be a doctor or lawyer or go into like a really specialized grad school, then I think it's worth it because you need to do that. You can't become a lawyer or a doctor without going to school. So you have to. And they're pretty good jobs too. I think if you know that before you go and that's why you're going, then I think it's probably worth it. Anybody else, I think it's better and cheaper and more efficient for you to teach yourself and then find another way into the industry. Because getting a degree isn't going to do that much in the job market anyway to find you a job. Because you'll be just like everybody else. Anybody else that wants to be an artist is going to go to art school and try to figure out that way. Or be a programmer. They're going to go to school for computer science and they'll be just like everybody else. Yeah, maybe they'll get a job, but I don't think it's worth trying to figure that out for 4 years of school and a bunch of money when you could just teach yourself the code online or how to draw online and then make a portfolio and show it to employers. That's a better way to try to get hired. All right, that's all I've got for you today. It's Graham.